everyone.
So welcome to the second review of the week. This time around, it's Hellenica, also known as Hellenica Tactics, because it is a tactic. It's a tactical. I hesitate to use the word RPG because it's not really an RPG. It's more RPG elements, but we'll get into that in a bit. So Hellenica. For those who did not see the interview this week, we interviewed the devs, the Dragonloft, and we showcased the game. We went over some of the mechanics, so you can watch that. You can watch that to learn more about the intricacies of what's going on here. You know, stuff like the push and pull mechanics that kind of define the game. But once again, anyway, so Hellenica is a SRPG, we'll say, for the sake of simplicity. It's set in a alternate Greece. It's steampunk Greece. You know,
I will admit that's a new one for me.
It's not a new one for me because I knew about the Greek the actual Greek steam power, that they talked about on Wednesday.
Still, it doesn't usually get full steampunked.
No, that's because, to make a long story short, the Greeks saw steam power as a curio, as fanciful wonderment, if you will. It was used for toys and not, industry, like what happened with the Industrial Revolution a couple centuries ago.
Mm-hmm.
And there are reasons and speculations surrounding that, but since we're not producing an actual historical podcast here, we'll let that go because it's not really relevant to this game, which has full-on, steampunk accoutrements going on here.
If you're looking at the stream, look at none other than the blonde-haired lady who just showed up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's basically Riku. I'm not exaggerating much.
Anyway, and if you can see from the art style, yeah, this is pretty inspired from Final Fantasy Tactics.
I could have never have guessed.
Yeah. There are some other games. I think they mentioned, Thousand Arms? And they mentioned Vandal Hearts.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm like, when I see the game in action, I just think Final Fantasy Tactics. This is what, or Tactics Ogre, one of those games. And as we talked about, this game is nowhere near as deep and as involving as Final Fantasy Tactics or Tactics Ogre. It's designed to be a bite-sized SRPG experience, which can still take a measure of time. They said they wanted to have a half-hour experience. Each story battle component would take a half an hour. I'll say right now, I don't think they quite nailed that down. And it's not even just the tactical stuff. The story stuff can take a while as well, depending on things. Not that long, but it was a bit longer than I was expecting. You do have some long conversations depending on where you are.
Right.
But It's definitely a pocket-sized SRPG as well. You've only got 4 main characters, and you don't have them all the time. Sometimes, like, you'll have like at most 1 or 2 guest characters showing up, but you're only managing a mere handful of characters versus like the 12 characters you would be doing in, say, Shining Force. Now, or even the game we reviewed last season, Super Dungeon Tactics, where you get up to 8 characters and a whole bunch of enemies. Like, enemy encounters are also scaled back a bit and can take if you play it right, they'll be similarly segmented. Like, you'll face the nearby enemies, and the distant enemies will do nothing until you're done with the enemies close by. Although if you go over and engage them, they'll start engaging you. Yes, this happened to me. Anyway, so the story of Hellenica is right. So your main character is Diona, the Arctos.
Arctos is Greek for bear.
Yes, because she literally transforms into a bear.
Yes, she is a priestess of Artemis who has that power because that's something that they have apparently.
And she's based off of the cult of Artemis.
Mm-hmm.
It's based off of the cult of Artemis would wear the skins of animals in order to become that animal. Like, they're not the only culture that's done this, by the way. Like,
that's what a berserker originally is. It's a Norse guy, but they as part of their battle ritual wore bear skins to become more fierce.
Right, and you also had that in various Native American cultures. It's an idea that has developed independent cultures over the millennia, kind of deal. And the Arctos' power is limited, though. Like, it lasts for 3 turns, and then you'll turn regular for 3 turns, and then you'll go back. And and each form has their own attacks. Now,
the main character's normal form actually has a healing power to it.
Right. One of the better healing spells, actually. Let's see. You'll also be playing as Nephili, the Theomechanicist. I believe that's how that's pronounced.
Yeah. Which is apparently an Apollo thing, which kind of makes sense. He was kind of into that kind of thing. Into creativity.
Sort of, but I still think that would be. This should have been more of a Hephaestus thing, since he was the actual god of blacksmithing. And a lot of what she does seems to be more up that end than Apollo. Granted, though, Apollo was the god of many things, and in her case, it's archery. Because she's your bowman. Or in this case,
with a steam-powered crossbow.
Yes. I'm like, because that is a thing that exists. In realistic, like, how do you get? Anyway,
she has some other abilities, though. She's sort of. I mean, most of her abilities are archer type things, but she also has a couple of all around of things based on just her steam thing. Like, one of her things she has from the very beginning is she can vent all of the steam she builds up to push everyone around from her. And her gimmick, sort of, is that she builds up 1 steam point every turn with a maximum of 5 at the beginning. I don't know if there's a way to increase that. And many of her abilities, you have to have a certain amount of steam to use, and get stronger depending on how much steam you have.
Surprisingly, she's also your heavy hitter. Her attacks will usually do more damage than anything else, including the bear. It's kind of surprising.
Well, yeah, but yeah. I mean, a
No,
crossbow is a really powerful thing, especially if it's additional acceleration on it. The other factor is that the bear, unlike her, can like chuck people off of things and then they die from falling 100 feet.
Right. And so Diona and Nephili, they're your two main characters. Like they're the characters who will be with you no matter which path you take, no matter which choice you make. In fact, the game begins with these two meeting, and Nephili just deciding to go along with Diona because reasons.
Well, the reason is because Diona's the one who says Nephili comes up to her to the woods and she's like, "Well, you see, I envy you being so free." And Diona says, "Well, I don't see any chain around your neck. You can go wherever you want." And she takes this as an invitation.
And of course, the dynamic is, well, Nephili is really, really annoying to Diona, and Diona is really, really grumpy towards Nephili. No. It's not as humorous as I think that they were intending.
Mm-hmm.
No. Anyway, your third character will be Brasidas. Is that how you pronounce that?
Brasidas? I was saying Brasidas in my head, but that's because he's the brass eagle of Corinth or whatever, of Sparta. Right. So,
also,
you might actually be right.
Yeah. Brasidas, he's your tank, or he's one of your tanks. I mean, Diona in bear form is pretty tankish as well, for obvious reasons. But, he's your fighter character.
Yeah. If I remember, he has the ability to pull aggro from enemies.
He does. He can pull aggro. He can pull defense with the Iron Will.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he puts out like 4 copies of himself, and they'll protect him for a turn.
He's also a spear user, so he has a little bit of extra reach, and he has a shield, so he can knock people around a bit that way, although obviously not as hard as a bear.
Yeah. I like the shield bash because it won't hit as hard as the spear. It'll do attack down to your enemies.
Mm.
Yeah. And the fourth character, you'll encounter him about midway through the game. Like Skylax. Like this might depend on which path you take, but I think I got him like on day 4 or day 5. Like,
that dude with the ship, I actually got him the second day.
No, he's a wandering magician.
Oh, the wandering magician. I don't think I got him.
You will get him eventually. I'm like, I don't know. Have you done a full run through of the game yet?
I have not.
Well, there you go. He's the last character you get. Yeah, he's your mage. I'm like, he's your he's your squishy wizard. Like, he's got things like the fire wave, and I'm trying to remember what the other attack is called. Like, he departed my party for a scenario or two because, well, we were heading to Sparta and he was wanted there. Like, he's got the fire blast. Like, a lot of I'm trying to remember, like, it was intensity. Oh, the attack was, like, his attacks are fire based and magic based in general. Good against heavily armored opponents, like when you're fighting Spartans and their steam tanks. I'm like, comes in handy. And I suppose that's a good segue into one of The game is not too difficult for the vast majority of it, I'd say.
Mhm.
Like, I really didn't start feeling challenged until very late in the game. All right. So we touched upon the structure in the interview a bit, in that it's lined by decisions. You get you get up to 3 paths per city, and each direction represents a different choice, a different scenario. And the game's not very long, going from city to city. Like, it's spaced out 8-9 days.
Mhm.
But here's the thing: you've got to make multiple run throughs.
Yeah, because obviously, if you have 3 choices in every city, you can't do all 3 of those.
Yeah, and well, here's the thing: about day 7, the true villain reveals themselves, and you've got to gather a lot of allies. You've got to gather about 6 allies. If I saw the interface spoiler there, like, the point is, Artemis sends you back in time, quote unquote, to get more allies. She's intentionally splitting the timelines to get, in order to gather enough forces to beat the enemy. And once you do that, the timelines will merge, and then you'll move forward.
Huh.
Yes. I guess that was a bit of a storyline spoiler.
No, that's just, well, I went back to replay the first stage because there's a challenge point on the first stage of trying to get, what's the word? Trying to not get any damage. And I wanted to try again and see if I could do that. I could not, but and there was a bit of a dialogue thing when you do that. There's question mark says and something turn back the leaves of time. So that just clarifies what that was about.
Yeah, that's another thing. You're also you're also building your levels. I mentioned RPG elements at the beginning here. Your RPG elements is every time you gain a level, you can unlock a new skill, or provided you get skill points. Like, there are skills that require more than one skill point to unlock, but the point of order here is, you unlock skills, you customize what skills you have. Like, some characters can have more skills than others. Yeah. And you can also also for each mission, there are 3 objectives. You've got your baseline objective, you've got your kind of out of the way objective, and then you've got your secret objective.
Yeah, the out of the way objectives usually aren't that hard. Like in the third stage, one of the third stages, one of them is you're fighting on a train and you have the objective of defeat 3 enemies by throwing them off the train.
Right.
This is not hard.
Yeah, that one's not hard. It's like some of them will be impossible if you don't bring the right kind of attack. Like, we talked, like, in the later stages, there's a lot of bounce damage requirements. Or there's throw damage. I'm like, and like, throwing attacks are a specific thing. If you don't have that unlocked, you're not unlocking. You're not achieving that. As far as the secret objective goes, you will learn that once you beat the stage once.
Yeah, I don't know if you can complete them the first time through the stage, but you don't know what they are.
You can actually complete them if you do it. It's just you don't know what to do. So,
for example,
like one stage there's it's like on one stage there's like kill all the enemies with a certain type of character or one character or something like that, and you're not gonna know that. You're not gonna think, oh, I've got to use Skylax to kill everyone.
Mm-hmm. Although you might on the train stage think, I know, I'll kill all the guys by throwing them off the train.
And I think that's the actual secret condition.
It is. I just did it.
Yeah. So there's a lot of the actual battles aren't long. This game is more about replayability, and even though it's not going to last you say 100 hours like a Fire Emblem title would, but it's like if you're going for everything, it's still going to take you, like they said, about 40 hours. A much shorter playthrough, I'd say about 20 hours. I couldn't say like 8 or 10 hours. Like that's like one run through, maybe 6 to 8. Well, and unlocking everything else or enough. Hard to say because I didn't get that far. Like what else? Let's see. Music. This is always the hardest part to talk about because I don't often have a lot to say about it.
I think the music is good music for this kind of game.
It's just, the music's good, but you're probably not going to overpay for it, like say Final Fantasy Tactics OSTs.
Yeah, you're not going to get sweeping orchestral things for cut cinematic orchestral stuff, but
yeah, I'm like, this is a game on an indie budget, so I don't think the soundtrack is available right now.
No, it's on like Bandcamp or something like that. I didn't see it on the Steam store page.
Right. Anyway, so pricing. All right, Hellenica is $14.99. That is an easy recommend.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's like for a game with this much value in it. I mean, like I said, it's not a grand, expansive SRPG, but it's still an SRPG. You're gonna get your money's worth. Now, it's like, right. So, final thoughts on Hellenica?
I wish I'd had more time to play it. Honestly, I was kind of out for most of the day with a headache, or I would have played significantly more because this is really fun, and it reminds me of Final Fantasy Tactics mostly in the good ways. Like the graphical style of the field gives me a good nostalgic feeling, and it lets you see the field well, and the abilities seem to be pretty well designed. And I like that they have stages that actually have stuff that does stuff. Like there are stages with conveyor belts that actually move every turn, and lifts that go up and down every turn and stuff that lets you pull off some fun tricks with that stuff. So, and the multiple timeline thing seems like it's implemented well here in that it's not ridiculously complicated where you're going to have to go back and forth tons and tons of times to try to pull the right thing off. But at the same time, there are enough interesting choices that you'll want to go back and see what would have happened if you'd done another thing. Or at least I think so.
All right. What about you, Petty Fan?
It's a pretty interesting game, though I will admit I'm not the biggest fan of SRPGs.
Newly noted. Twilight?
I thought it was fairly enjoyable. I liked the aesthetic and interesting gameplay mechanic, the whole throwing, pushing thing. I just like multiple choices and how it all works out.
Right. So yeah, ultimately, if you're I keep coming back to this. If you're looking for a 200-hour grand epic SRPG, this isn't it. If you're looking for something that's remotely manageable time-wise, this is it. Now, it's got it's got some interesting mechanics that I haven't really seen in an SRPG elsewhere. I think that helps it stands out, and it is worth a purchase. As far as this game coming outside the PC, we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that'll about do it for the Fragments of Silicon reviews for the week. Be sure to tune in next week as we review. Let's see, we got Aula's Awakening, which is a retro-styled Metroidvania game. I've put about a half hour into it, and I can't actually talk about this game in detail because it's got an embargo on it right now that gets lifted on Wednesday. Yeah, also, I was the only one who got a code for this, so...
I was going to say, it doesn't ring a bell to me.
Yeah, I ask for 4 codes, but I don't always get 4 codes.
Mm-hmm.
I got 1 code in this case, so if you want to play this, you're going to have to wait until Wednesday before it actually goes on sale. It's just one of those them's the breaks kind of deals.
Mm-hmm.
And our other game coming up is the Inner World. It is a point-and-click adventure game from Head Up Games. Now, this one I believe everyone has. This one's a bit of an unusual one because the initial release was a couple years ago. Like, we're talking 2013, 2014. But the reason why it's relevant is because the game just got ported to the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. And it's got on the path to a sequel coming out this summer. So, yeah, there's a lot of reason to review it. Just, I'll note, we're not reviewing the Xbox One or the PlayStation 4 versions because only one of us has a PlayStation 4 and nobody has an Xbox One. Everyone has a PC, and, also I really wouldn't recommend playing an adventure game on a console usually anyway.
Also, you can't really get developers can't get PS4 codes for free. They have to pay for those.
Yes. I'm like, I think, I was offered a PlayStation 4 code, but I think it was like 1.
Yeah. And I think you mentioned that was before I got my PS4, so we didn't have one to let them know we could get a PS4 copy.
Mm-hmm.
Probably. Anyway, so more on those games next week. Oh, right, scheduling notice. We were originally supposed to have the return of THQ Nordic on our programming on Tuesday. That has been moved to early April, mainly because we're coming to a part of the year I hate. I absolutely hate, because it screws up with my schedule. I know the game developers love it because they get to travel and they actually get to go to these events, but I'm like, none of us has the resources or the anything to go to like PAX or GDC or anything. So yeah, THQ told us that it would be hard for them to do an interview before March 15th because of PAX. I'm assuming like PAX South and PAX Prime. Like PAX South is going on right now, and
how many PAXs are there now?
There are at least 4.
PAX East, PAX South, PAX Romana.
PAX Australia.
There is no PAX Romana yet.
Yeah, I'm like, yes, I get the joke there. Anyway, my overall point is THQ Nordic is coming back April 4th. We got right now, barring any other scheduling mishaps. I mean, this is kind of one of the dangers of scheduling so far ahead. Like, things can change. Anyway, so we just had the one interview this Wednesday at 9. Zachary Downer of Or Creative LLC. They're making a game called Ira. It's a point-and-click adventure game. I haven't actually played it yet. There's a couple of versions of this. There's like Chapter 1, or Act 1 Pilgrimage, and then there's the version that's coming to Steam in a couple months. So, we're going to be talking about this. And as far as MSP goes, there is some scheduling news there, but I'll wait for Mac to talk about that on the actual MSP show, because there are some details here. He's not happy about what went down. Like, there may be ranting.
Oh, the thing that happened on the Skype.
Yeah, the thing that happened with the Epic Voice guy.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's like Mac might go into a rant. I'm not gonna lie.
Spoilers if you bet money on that you're going to be winning some money.
I'm like, so yeah. Until Wednesday, we wish you good gaming.